And
I think it's more important to make headway in our own house. By the time the system comes into play, the damage is done. They're not locking up 7-year-olds. I know, you know, we all know what it is when a hot comb hits your hair on a Sunday morning, what it smells like. That's a cultural difference, not just a color difference.
Once again causing controversy, Denzel Washington's remarks about racism in the entertainment industry and how black performers are used to make room for white ones. As one of the few performers who does not consider himself to be a victim of the system, Denzel refused to use the bigotry he experienced from Hollywood's upper class as an excuse to give up on his aspirations. And he is now determined to reveal all that goes on behind the scenes, including how some black performers were fired so that white stars could step in. What then did Denzel say about racism in the entertainment industry? Let's get started.
My parents sent me in another direction. They didn't have anybody to help them, and they kept doing what they were doing, and the system got them. So I don't, the system is rigged, but why, all the more reason not to help it.
Denzel Washington is one of the few celebrities who is not afraid to call out the hypocrisy in Hollywood. Many actors would blame the system for their lack of success before accepting demeaning jobs in exchange for a paycheck. But Denzel is a man of principles, and he has repeatedly shown that working hard and remaining true to your beliefs pay off. And now he's explaining how he may have achieved even greater success if only Hollywood's elites had shown more concern for black and other artists of color. Because Hollywood believed a white actor would be more commercially successful, Denzel actually lost out on many main roles. In 2014, when an anonymous hacker released private information from the movie studio Sony Pictures Entertainment, Denzel found himself in the center of the Sony email breach scandal. And in one email exchange that was leaked, sent soon after Sony released Denzel's movie The Equalizer between an unknown producer and Sony chairman Michael Linton, the producer suggested that Sony should avoid casting black actors to appeal to an international market. Despite the fact that The Equalizer grossed over $190 million worldwide with almost 50% of his ticket sales coming from outside of the US, the Sony producer suggested that the overseas sales would have been even higher if the lead role was played by a white actor. I believe that the international motion picture audience is racist. In general, pictures with an African American lead don't play well overseas, the producer wrote. But despite facing discrimination from studios, Denzel refused to accept roles that he felt were degrading and intended to exploit black paint.
I got a part in a movie in 1986. I called it The Nigga They Couldn't Kill. Oh. Yeah, he was supposed to be, he raped a white woman and they tried to electrocute him, but it didn't work. They tried to hang him and they tried to do all this stuff, and there were some Jewish people in the audition, and I said, yeah. They said, no, it's funny. It's like they hang them and then they can't. I said, yeah, like you bring some Jewish people into a room and they think it's a shower, but it's gas. Oh. And they said, right. I said, right. That ain't funny. Mm. So to me, it wasn't funny about putting a rope around my MFN neck either. I made a point. The guy was like, who the hell was this little nigga talking like this?
In addition, Dave Chappelle also discussed this immediately after rejecting a $50 million Comedy Central contract and fleeing to Africa. He then brought up the subject after his return from Africa. Dave appeared on the Oprah Winfrey Show and stated that the terms of the lucrative contract, not the money, were the reason he declined it. Dave commented on his choice to reject the deal, providing instances of celebrities who withdrew before achieving greater levels of renown.
Okay. When you say you heard the stories, what do you mean? What stories?
I mean, you see before, look, Mariah Carey made a $100 million deal, and 3 months later, she's all of a sudden mysteriously crazy. Or Martin Lawrence punches through and he's waving a gun on the street screaming, "They're trying to kill me."
Yeah, we hear those stories.
And it always happens around the time of their career where it seems as though they're crossing over the next plateau.
Dave admitted, however, that he was pressured to create sketches that he believed to be socially irresponsible when Oprah prompted him to describe the specific nature of the request he received. The sketches, according to Dave, were made with the intention of making people laugh at him rather than with him.
Sounds like somebody's trying to put young Dave in a compromising position. Oprah.
Additionally, Dave alleged that he was forced to don a dress for one particular movie, and shortly after Kevin Hart wore a dress for an SNL skit, Cat Williams also mentioned this. Now, about Denzel, He also had similar situations in which he was required to perform humiliating acts for part. Denzel, though, remained true to his beliefs and resisted allowing the media to portray him as a victim. However, this attitude got Denzel into trouble with the press, and because he refused to victimize himself, they claimed he was just foolish. When he argued that the jail system was not the primary cause of the high crime rates in black communities back in 2017, Denzel created controversy. Additionally, he asserted that strong family relationships are the most crucial system.
The legal system, do you think we've made any headway?
I think it's more important to make headway in our own house. By the time the system comes into play, the damage is done. They're not locking up 7-year-olds. Said Little Yummy, look up, Google Little Yummy. Little Yummy was an 11-year-old murderer.
Wow.
And you look at his picture, you'll see the headshot of him, he's like this. And he got murdered at 11 by a 14-year-old.
Wow.
Who's doing life now, the 16-year-old.
Makes no sense.
Blame the system? Where was his father? It starts in the house. It starts in the home. And yeah, well, my father got locked up. Well, where was his father?
Denzel also gave his kind father credit for guiding him in the correct direction. And he added that, despite his parents' divorce, his father continued to have a positive influence on his life.
But like I did talk about my 3 closest friends, and they did, 15 to 25, one did 28, this and that. I was the only one of the 3 that had a father in my life, even though my parents were together. But I still had a father who was a gentle man and a good example, and they didn't.
Denzel also remarked that even though the system is flawed, this does not justify abandoning your kids or feeding a cycle of violence.
We can blame the system if we want, but they didn't lock any of us up at 7.
Yeah.
We were all doing enough to get locked up at 13. My parents sent me in another direction. They didn't have anybody to help them, and they kept doing what they was doing, and the system got them. So I don't, the system is rigged, but why, all the more reason not to help it.
However, many individuals criticized Denzel, saying that his remarks about the jail system were unsatisfactory and troubling. In an interview with the New York Daily News, Denzel reiterated his remarks in the face of criticism and stated once more that meaningful improvements must begin at home. It starts with how you raise your children. If a young man doesn't have a father figure, he'll go find a father figure, Denzel said. So I can't blame the system. It's unfortunate that we make such easy work for them. Denzel then resisted being included in the story about racial discrimination as he was promoting the Oscar-winning play Fences.
Was it caused by racial discrimination? And is that the effect of racial discrimination on people?
Here's the thing you got to remember. When you talk about racial and you talk about discrimination, maybe, what if he just wasn't good enough? See, it's so easy to just say, oh, it's because of this. It's because of racism. Oh, I didn't get the job because of that. Maybe you weren't good enough. Maybe, like his wife says, you were just too old. She says, why don't you just admit it? You were too old. He's the one that's hung up on,
Racial prejudice, according to the reporter, is still a major problem. Denzel did, however, imply that the media is making it seem like that's the only problem there is.
Don't you think it is the problem is the racial discrimination?
The right word is not is, was.
Was.
And that's not the only problem. That's one of the problems. Now, you can make it the only one if you'd like, but it's not the only one. But that's a fact.
You said was. You mean, is it better now? An African American doesn't face these obstacles?
We're sitting in the Four Seasons talking about a movie. We wouldn't be doing this in 1957 unless my name was Poitier. There was only one person then. But yeah, so things are better, no question.
A year or two later, Denzel joined Mel Gibson and other Oscar-winning directors on the Hollywood Reporter's Oscar Directors Roundtable. Denzel swiftly dispelled the myth that acting is more difficult or meaningful than other careers when asked what his worst job was before he became an actor.
Send your son to Iraq, that's difficult. It's just a movie. It's like, relax. I don't play that precious nonsense. Oh, we're moving over, get out of here. Your son got shot in the face, that's difficult. Making a movie is a luxury. It's a gift. It's an opportunity, and most importantly, it's a gift. Obviously, everybody here is talented enough to do that, but don't get it twisted. It's just a movie. It ain't that big a deal.
Denzel clarified that despite the rigged system, harboring hatred or fury will accomplish nothing. It won't fix anything, so your attention should be directed toward maximizing the chances that come your way.
Because when you read, for instance, Obama's Audacity of Hope, he highlighted this issue. He said, I understand the Black American anger, that he's not giving the same opportunities. Because if they were giving the opportunities, they would achieve much more. Do you agree with that?
I agree he has the right to say that. One might use the word anger, someone might use the word opportunity. You know, what are you going to do with it is the point. We all have reasons, or we might feel righteous reasons to be angry. But the point is, what are you going to do about it?
Denzel persisted in criticizing Hollywood for its hypocrisy over the years. However, he claimed that the only thing actors of color can do is to press the issue and keep highlighting how the system is corrupt. In an interview with 60 Minutes, he was questioned about the lack of diversity at the Oscars. Denzel said, "I've lived it. I've been the guy at the Oscars without my name being called when everybody thought that they were going to call my name and they didn't." And when asked if he thinks that the system is unfair, Denzel said, "Yeah, and so what? You gonna give up? If you're looking for an excuse, you'll find one. You can find it wherever you like. Can't live like that. Just do the best that you can do." Earlier this year, allegations surfaced that Denzel had rejected down a part in the Disney-owned Marvel Universe film because he found the plot to be too depressing. As you can see, Denzel is unique among actors for speaking out against racism in the entertainment industry. And according to his admirers, he is a rare example of an actor who expresses his views rather than making fun of Hollywood catchphrases. "This makes Denzel an even bigger star and role model in my book," one fan said. "Morality and integrity are rare qualities in Hollywood elite. Our younger generation needs someone to look up to and learn from like Denzel." And another fan wrote, "I have so much respect for Denzel Washington. He has earned everyone's respect for his views among the aisles of reality Hollywood." Thanks for watching our video. Make sure to subscribe our channel for more celeb videos. Don't forget to like and comment. Also share it with friends and family.